Let's begin in meditation today. I want to invite you to just take a moment to settle into your seat, letting your back and your hips and your arms be relaxed. And take a nice, slow, deep, full inhale. And let it go. I want to invite you to imagine that right in front of you are some elevator doors. The doors open up, and you step inside, and the doors close. And as the floors tick by, you notice yourself becoming more and more relaxed. That as the elevator moves, your breath moves slower and deeper into your body. So you allow yourself to be carried into relaxation. Now the elevator comes to a slow, gentle stop. The doors open, and you find yourself on a beautiful beach. You can see the ocean, you can hear the waves, the sun is shining, and you step out barefoot onto the warm sand. Feeling that softness and that warmth radiating up your feet. That warm glow of the sun warming your entire body. And so you walk for a bit and find a nice spot to lay down in the sand, allowing that gentle warmth to just surround you. Imagine sinking your hands into the sand, curling your fingers around it, letting it flow through them, warming your palms. As you lay there on the beach with the sound of the waves, the warmth of sun and sand, completely relaxed and at peace. Feeling fully at peace and relaxed, you decide you're ready. And so you stand up, dust off your hands, and walk back to that magical elevator. You step inside, the doors close, and you're gently taken back from where you came. As you arrive and the doors open, you find yourself in the same place you were before, but yet it's so much different now. Your new perspective makes the colors brighter. The air feels sweeter. You notice the breeze as it tickles you, and you are grateful for it. And so you take another deep breath in, soaking in all that goodness, and release. And when you're ready, you can start to rub your hands together. Move your feet, your ankles, your neck, your shoulders, and start to come back. So the meditation we just did can be a form of ritual. This meditation in particular has actually been studied. And what they've found is that by imagining our hands in that warm sand, that the actual temperature of your hands increases when you do that meditation. Rituals are important parts of our lives. And we all participate in ritual all the time, whether we call it that or not. If you think about it, ritual is something that ushers us from one season to the next. Whether it's the seasons of the earth as they change, or the seasons of our lives. We have rituals from going from adolescence to adulthood. When we graduate high school and we have the graduation parties. Dane and I will be doing that this May for our oldest. We have rituals when we end our working career and step into retirement. We have rituals around weddings when we're transitioning from being single to being married. We even have rituals around summertime, right? Maybe the kids and the grandkids are out of school, and so you travel more, or you go up north to get out of the heat and do some camping, or just spend more time around bodies of water. So all throughout our lives, we engage in these rituals. And sometimes they're just traditions, and we don't really think much about them. We always celebrate the holidays a certain way. We always do a little spring cleaning, maybe. But rituals can also be sacred times, where we transition from one season of our life to another. And it doesn't have to be about a big party. It's about setting the intention and the awareness of what this ritual does for you. So today we're talking about the power of ritual and how it can help us experience more of the sacred in our everyday lives. This is on my mind because Thanksgiving is coming up pretty soon here. And my husband Dane and I always host Thanksgiving. Every single year since we've been married, we're the ones who host. And we always have, us and the two girls, but there's always at least one of our parents, one of our sets of parents, sometimes both. Sometimes my sister's in town and their whole family. Sometimes my husband's sister's in town and their whole family. Sometimes we have cousins in town. So I think the smallest Thanksgiving we've ever hosted is 6 people. And the most we've ever hosted is 22. And I love hosting Thanksgiving because it's so nice to, one, have the space and the home to be able to invite all of these loved ones in and to be able to spend that nice casual time with them. My nieces run around and play with the dog. And it's so nice to play games. And I always feel so grateful on Thanksgiving with all the blessings and all the love that I have in my life. But some years, I'm thinking more about all the stuff there is to do, right? And some years when it's a presidential election, that adds another layer to Thanksgivings and family holidays. And some years it's like, we got to go to Costco. We got to get all this stuff. We got to get the turkey brine 2 days before. My house is going to be a mess. I got to buy all this stuff, right? Sometimes we can lose the meaning behind the rituals and the traditions that we engage in. Sometimes it becomes just mundane, another thing to do, and we lose the sacredness. You see, that feeling of being so grateful on Thanksgiving doesn't happen because it happens to be the 4th Thursday of November. The feeling of gratitude that I have on Thanksgiving is because of the intention and the mindfulness and the awareness that I give to that celebration. Who I'm going to spend it with, what we're going to cook, what games we're going to play. When I go forth in that ritual with joy and with sacred intention, it becomes a sacred experience. When I go into that ritual worried about all the things I have to do and not pulling that sacred energy in, then that's the experience I have, is of just another thing to do. Without ritual, without intention, Thanksgiving would be just another Thursday. But it's the intention we bring to it that gives its power. So the power of ritual relates to our third principle in unity, that we co-create our experience through the power of our thought. I make Thanksgiving sacred through the power of my thought and intention. And it's not just about our holidays and our annual traditions. We can use ritual to focus the power of our mind anytime we are going through a change or a transition, or we have something we want to shift in our lives, something we want to let go of, something we want to create, a new adventure we want to step into. Ritual can help us focus on our intention and usher us through. In the book of Genesis, we are told that humankind has dominion over the earth. Metaphysically, the earth represents our consciousness. We were not given dominion to do with natural resources as we please. We were given dominion over the power of our thought to create our experience of reality. Dominion or power is one of our 12 powers in unity. They're listed up here as well. These are the 12 divine powers that Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore believed exist within each of us, created in the image and likeness of God. 12 divine powers that we can develop to live more happier, fuller, more fulfilling lives. And one of them is the power of dominion, or the power of power. And Charles believed that this power is located in the throat, because it is through the power of our word that we create our experience, that we express our power. Unity minister and author Linda Martella Whitsett says we are not forever stuck with our first word or thought on any subject. When we pay attention to our words, we are empowered to choose them, claim them, and live out from them. That's the power of our intention and our word. At any moment, we can use the power of our word to shift a situation, to release anxiety and step into joy, to release old hurts and make room for something new to come about in our lives. Two summers ago, I had a loss in my life. And you know, the first few days of grief, you're like in this fog. Everything seems muted. It's almost like you're in a cloud or underwater. And I remember after a couple days when that fog lifted, I thought, okay, I'm through the worst of it. But then I had trouble sleeping. And I would toss and turn all night long, and it was like I was kind of in and out of sleep all night. And then by the time I finally got to sleep was like a minute before my alarm went off. And then, of course, in the beginning of a grief journey, when you first wake up, you remember the loss all over again. So I almost accidentally, really, created a ritual for myself during this time. I would get ready and go to bed like I always did, but when it became clear that I wasn't going to fall asleep, rather than deciding to toss and turn and fight it all night, I got out of bed. I went to the other room in the dark and I grabbed my candle. I lit the candle, set it on the floor, and kneeled in front of it. And I would just take this position with my palms open of just surrender. And I would look at that flame and I would use the power of my word and I would speak into the darkness whatever felt real and true for me. A lot of times it was, I release, I let go. Or if those grief thoughts of regret were spiraling, I would say, be here now. So I'd be kneeling on the floor in the dark in front of the candle, and I would speak my intention, and then I would just sit there surrendered. And before long, the tears would start coming, and then I'd start sobbing, and I would just let it happen. And after 10 minutes, or sometimes 20 minutes, or sometimes 30 minutes, eventually it would just stop. And I'd put my hands in prayer, and I would give thanks, because I knew that Spirit was right there with me. And I'd blow out my candle, and I'd go to bed, and I'd fall asleep. I did that little ritual probably almost every night for 2 weeks. And then one day I went to bed and I fell right asleep. We can create these small personal rituals whenever we need them, as a way of focusing our intention and inviting Spirit into our lives to see us through whatever we're going through. And it doesn't even have to be in times of transition or grief or change. Small personal rituals are things that we can do every single day to give us an opportunity to remember and to connect with the Spirit of God within us. I have had a handful of times in my life where I can say unequivocally, not just I knew intellectually that Spirit was there with me, not just that I could see the work of God in my life, but I felt in every bone in my body, I felt Spirit, like the blood running through my veins. A handful of times in my life that I have felt that, and one of those times was during that grief ritual. It can be so powerful to take the time in our day to create a ritual that supports and nourishes us. So here's a ritual I bet you all do every day, hopefully twice a day, maybe even 3 times a day, and that's brush your teeth. So what if that mundane activity of brushing your teeth every morning and every night became sacred? What if when you were brushing your teeth, you looked in the mirror and made eye contact with yourself and just sent yourself love and appreciation for the allness of who you are? Do you think that would bring a little something extra to your day? Do you think you would notice love and Spirit and God more in your day by starting your day that way? Rituals can be so powerful, but it is the intention that we bring to it that gives it its power. In the Jewish tradition, there are dietary laws that are passed down through their sacred scriptures. And just amongst my Jewish friends, there's a wide range of how they observe the kosher laws. So some of them don't care about it at all. They'll eat a bacon cheeseburger, doesn't bother them. Some of them will abide by kosher on the high holidays, but don't really think about it other than that. Some eat kosher mostly out of habit. They live in a community that has a high Jewish population, and so it's easy to eat kosher. And then I remember somebody told me once about keeping kosher and what it meant to him. And he said, by keeping kosher, I really don't care much about what the specific foods are. By keeping kosher, it gives me 3 times a day, when I'm preparing a meal or ordering a meal or sitting down to a meal, 3 times a day guaranteed that I'm thinking about God. We can also use rituals that have us do something a little bit more tangible, like letter writing can be a fantastic ritual. If you ever find yourself holding on to a little bit of anger or a little bit of resentment, a little bit of that, oh, she shouldn't have, or if only he had. Anybody ever have those thoughts? Okay. And you're ready to release this, you're ready to let this go because you know that this resentment or this anger you're holding on to is really hurting you more than it's hurting anybody else. You can write a letter. All of the things that you would never say to this person, all the things you would never say out loud because it sounds way too mean, but it's happening in your head. Write it down in a letter and read it back and then burn it. And as it's burning, look at it and use the power of your word to say, I release this. I forgive you. Another great forgiveness ritual is just to write it down. I, Amanda Sue, forgive you, whatever their name is, wholly and completely. Some people engage in this ritual where they do the 70 times 7 that's talked about in the Bible. 70 times 7 is a metaphor for completeness, the number 7 meaning wholeness and completeness. And so to forgive 70 times 7 times means to forgive wholly and completely. But some people teach it literally, where 70 times a day for 7 days you write down, I forgive you. That can be a powerful ritual, because think about how long it's going to take to write that 70 times. So you're giving it the intention. You're giving it the awareness and the mindfulness of this is what I am trying to create in my life. I am creating forgiveness. You can create a ritual in any way that speaks to you. If you want to use sage, if you want to use crystals, if you want to use singing bowls, if you want to use a pendulum, it doesn't matter. It is whatever tool you need to help you focus your power of dominion over your thoughts to create your life. So we can create our own personal rituals, rituals that connect us to the divine, that help us remember the truth of who we are and support us when we're going through challenging times, or just support us in having a little bit better of a day each and every day. We also have collective rituals that we come together as a community or as a group to engage in. And these can be extra transformative because it's not just your intention, but the collective's intention that brings sacredness and the power to heal to these collective rituals. So one that we have coming up pretty soon is on December 22nd. It's at our normal service time. We're going to have our Christmas candle lighting service. In Unity, we celebrate Christmas by celebrating the birth of the Christ light within each of us. And the power of that Christ light is those 12 divine powers that we each have access to develop and create the life of our dreams. And so we'll be lighting 12 candles, each representing the 12 powers, to remind us all of our own innate power to co-create our lives with God. So if you are interested in engaging in this ritual in an even more meaningful way than being there for it, I am looking for 12 people to be my candle lighters, and there's a sign-up sheet on the back on your way out. Another collective ritual we engage in that I know is important to many of you is our burning bowl ceremony. So the burning bowl is a step on the path of transformation. Transformation starts with awareness. This is a habit of thought that I keep falling into that I'm ready to let go of. Or this is something that I'm ready to shift in my life. Or this is something that's been holding me back and I'm ready to step beyond it. So we start transformation with awareness, and then the next step is to release so that we can start building and co-creating where we're going. And so the burning bowl is about that release process. It can be so powerful to write down, to put into words, I am done with this, and I am claiming my power to release it and step into something greater. And so in Burning Bowl, we write those things down and we burn them on our path to transformation. So Burning Bowl this year is going to be on March 9th, which is the first Sunday in Lent, right after Ash Wednesday. I know in a lot of Unity churches, you're used to doing it at the end of the year. Now, I don't know about you, but between Christmas and New Year's, I'm relaxing from all of my relaxing with family, right? I'm starting to think about taxes, counting off those last few days before you have to go back to work and the kids finally are back in school. I'm not really in the mindset to make huge transformational changes in my life in the middle of winter, right after the holidays. So that's why I thought that doing it in the springtime, days are getting longer, the sun's shining more, the plants are blooming, and in the season of Lent, when 1 billion plus Christians across the world are all working in this time of when we let go of things that are no longer serving us, we have that collective support and that collective energy of the season and of the Christian tradition to support us in a true time of transformation. So that's the power of ritual, to usher us from one season of life to the next, to focus our power of thought, our dominion over our life through our word, to heal, to transform, and to align ourselves consciously with that Christ light within us, so that each and every day we get closer and closer and closer to realizing the divine being that you already are. The focus and the power of your thoughts and your word, that is the power of ritual. Thank you.